Welcome to the Second Mess Podcast, one-stop shopping for Norwich nostalgia, networking, and news from the Hill. Stand by for your host, Randall H. Miller.
Jana is a woman of incredible accomplishments. She's a former naval aviator. She flew F-18. She has like 200 carrier landings. Then she pivoted to the intelligence community where she still works. This is an impressive person right here. And very cool, I have to say. Easy to talk to and inspirational. And she's looking out for other people. You'll notice that. That's like the through line in this thing here is like she's looking out for other people, looking out for other women. And what I love about it too is the beginning. I don't know where she was from. That's where I'm going to drop you in a second here, where she was from. And you can hear it a little bit in her accent. Not big, but you can hear it there. Kentucky. She and Brian have also raised 4 boys, including one who's a sophomore at Norwich and another one who's probably on the way there. But let's get to know her first, and we talk about all 4 of them during this conversation. Enjoy. Where are you from originally? Where'd you go to high school?
Kentucky. Lexington, Kentucky.
Get out of town. Really?
Yeah. Lexington, Kentucky, Army family. My dad, actually, I take that back. My dad, cousins, all of them were Army. My grandfather on one side was Army, on my mom's side. And then after I enlisted in the Navy, I ran away from home, kind of. I found out after I went in the Navy, my grandfather had been a cook on a supply ship in World War II. And nobody had told me. I never knew. But Kentucky, yeah, my dad's still there. His family is all in Kentucky. My mom, they're divorced. She moved to Florida to be near my brother, who's in Jacksonville, and he went Navy, so he's retired Navy.
I'm a native Buckeye.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Back?
Right next door, Cincinnati.
Do you go back?
No, because my family went to Florida.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
small world.
Yeah, we used to go to the Cincinnati Reds. That was a big thing. My dad loved baseball. My brother played baseball.
The Big Red Machine.
Yep.
The late 70s. That's when I lived there. Pete Rose, Johnny Bench, all of those guys. Yep, that was crazy time.
Yeah, that was a big deal for my dad to take us to that and University of Kentucky basketball. My kids bleed blue. Even my kids follow UK basketball. But yeah, it's Kings Island. Did you go to Kings Island?
I grew up at Kings Island, riding the Beast.
Yeah, $7 to get in.
I wonder what that is now. Can't be $7, but if you have 4 kids, you've been to Disney before. You know how that goes.
Yep.
Yeah. How did you end up? You were a booster, right?
I was. Yeah, I tried to go away to college, and it was just foreign for people, I guess. Well, University of Kentucky was in Lexington, so everybody went to UK, or they went to, if you were rich, you went to Transylvania, was the private school. Eastern Kentucky was about 30 minutes away, and then Vandy. Vandy was a big one if you were really well off. But most people stayed at UK. I'd say 4% of my classmates stayed either at UK or EKU or local. And so I went to my counselor, and my girlfriend had enlisted in the Marine Corps Reserves, one of the girls I worked with, and was telling me about basic, and they were going to do this, and she was doing this training. It just sounded kind of cool, and you could travel. And I would watch, we lived pretty close to the airport, and I would watch the airplanes, and I'd always wanted to go fly, and I didn't think I had enough money to pay for lessons. And so when she enlisted in the Marine Corps, I was like, maybe I could go in the military and fly. They fly. So I started talking to my counselor wouldn't help me at first with colleges. I was like, she's like, why do you want to go away to school? We'll just stay here. And we didn't have the internet, right? We remember we had these big Barron books or something that had all the colleges in them.
Yeah. I can't remember. Big, huge, thick books like this. Yeah.
And all it told you was how expensive they were. And I was like, we can't afford that. But I could go to UK. So I actually went to University of Kentucky for a year, but couldn't figure out how to get money to go away to school, and then found out about the Marine Corps, and then started talking to recruiters, and I ended up with a Navy recruiter. The Air Force wanted me, they're like, oh, you can do this 2-year program and be a secretary. And I was like, well, I don't want to be a secretary. And then the scheme.
Is that really what they pushed you towards?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus.
But this was a long time ago too, right? So when I went to the recruiter, and she goes, well, well, you have really good scores. Your ASVAB was good. If you enlist in the Navy, we have this officer training program we can apply to, but you have to enlist, and I was like, okay. I'm like, well, that's good. Do I get to go away? Yeah, that's fun. Okay, we have to pick our rate. And so I'm reading through all the ratings. They go, oh, I want to be air crew. She says, oh, you girls can't do that. Okay, I want to be an aviation electronics technician. Oh, girls can't do that. So I'm like, okay, I want to be a diver. Oh, no, girls can't, nothing. We could do nothing. So I went in as a non-rate and went through boot camp, but I got picked up for the officer training program. So it all worked out in the end.
So you went in with no MOS, just really?
Nope. And you end up, so if I had failed out of boost, I would have gone back into the fleet. I would have to strike for a rate. I'd be chipping paint on a ship somewhere or something. But I don't know. I never thought like that. People were like, well, what if you failed? And I was like, why would I fail? It's like it never occurred to me.
I admire that, but I'm sort of with them a little bit on it, because when I heard you say, okay, you can go to this boost thing, become an officer, but you have to enlist first. You got to put a whole bunch of chips up on the table to see if maybe it works out.
Yep. Yeah, about 50% graduate. So it's like the Naval Academy Prep School. It's just like NAPS, except if you graduated, you earned a 4-year ROTC scholarship, and then NAPS was appointment to Naval Academy. I think we had 10 people go to the academy, something like that, from our boost class.
I had some classmates at Norwich who were boosters. Willie Wright was a booster. Keanu. There's a few others I can think of.
Niels Mateo.
Yeah.
He was a booster. He was a year or two behind me. I think we had 10 boosters our year. We had Scotty Richardson. He didn't go in the military. Myself. I'm going to have to think now. Mark Glover, Tracy Pruitt.
I remember Glover, Pruitt. I remember them.
I'm having a brain block here. One of them had a car accident and passed away, and I'm just having it'll come to me later. We had 2 that left, Tracy Carullo and her boyfriend. I can't remember his name. They left. Then, who else? I'll have to go back and look. I can't think of all the names. So I think we had 10 that year.
Is that still a program?
No, it's gone. They just have NAPS now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, pretty successful program, though, I think, for its time, wasn't it?
It was fun.
Did you get to choose Norwich, or did they choose Norwich for you?
No, I picked Norwich. And I got another thing. It's like, why did you pick Norwich? And I'm like, I don't know. It was just, so I had applied to 3 or 4 schools. And if you're ROTC out of boost, you have good SAT scores. They want you. They take you. A lot of them paid you room and board. And Bruce Stewart, do you remember him from the admissions office?
I don't.
He came out to Boost to do a college fair. So there's a bunch of universities out there. And I was going through the application process for the Naval Academy, because I tried to do that before I enlisted. I tried to go through the application process for the academy, but I didn't have the grades, and I didn't meet the mark. And so you could do this through Boost, and I was going through the process, and you had to get it. Had done my interview. You had to do the congressional interview, but there was a bunch of the PT tests and things I hadn't done. And Bruce came out and started talking about Norwich, and I'd never heard of it, had no idea. Small private school, so it was kind of not quite academy, not quite civilian, but I liked the small school thought. And something about talking to him, just, I don't know, it was like a gut thing. And I was like, that's where I'm going. And that's the only explanation I have.
Well, I wish we could clone whatever it is that he had.
He was like a dad to me up there. He brought 10 of us on, right? There were 10 boosters that came that year. And I definitely would do it again in a heartbeat. I don't think I missed anything by not going to civilian school. I mean, the other schools were big. I think it was Auburn, Purdue, big, good schools. I mean, I had a good,
Those are great schools. Auburn, Purdue?
Great schools. Yeah.
Okay.
But I have kids in college now, and I see the difference between their relationship with their school and us in Norwich.
But nobody would have put Norwich and Auburn and Purdue in the same sentence back then. That's crazy. Yeah.
No, I didn't even apply. He's like, oh, you can get in. He's like, yeah, we'll take you. That was it. It was like a word of mouth thing. And then I remember Brian talking about when he was an alumni appointee or whatever they call it. And we were talking about SAT scores, and he's like, I'm not even telling you my SAT scores. And I think the average at Norwich then was like under 1,000.
I swear to God, I know a couple of guys who claim they never took it.
Probably.
I swear.
Yeah. But it was just, I don't know, it was just that gut feeling, that you just get those, like, when something's a yes, when something's a no. Like when you're in a job, like people, I have somebody tell you, like, you'll know when it's time to go. Like every time I've had an opportunity that even if I didn't expect it, it's like, I knew right away. It's like, it's just that feeling. And you may not be able to explain it to somebody, but it's just this, yeah, I think I should do that, or I shouldn't do that, or whatever.
Did you visit campus before showing up for Rook Week? So that was the first time you'd ever stepped foot on campus.
And I hate snow.
I don't know how people do that.
Never. None of us saw it. None of us saw it.
Wow.
Yeah, we just showed up, and and I never thought anything about it. Never occurred to me to worry about it, be scared. We were probably a little nervous at first, right? You're a little nervous with this new situation, but just like, okay, let's go. Never thought about not liking it. Never, said, well, if I don't like it, I'll change. Never occurred to me.
It was not an option, right?
Just never thought of it. It just never, I didn't even make it an option. I never thought of making it an option. People talk about getting married. Well, you can just get divorced or whatever if it doesn't work out. I'm like, that's not the way you go into stuff. You go into to finish or to complete it or to graduate, or it just never occurred to me. So
what barracks were you in? You were drill team, right?
No, I was artillery, actually.
Oh, okay. How did I get that wrong? That's blasphemy. That's blasphemous right there.
Which they don't have anymore. They don't have artillery company anymore. It's that NAB or whatever.
NAB or NIB. They change it every couple of years. Stay under the radar.
And I picked that because one of my buddies at Boost wanted to go artillery. And I was like, well, what do they do? And he's trying to explain to me what he read. And I was like, maybe I'll try that. I'm like, okay. So I was, they had 2 women. The first one quit. And then Jill Ducharme, do you remember her? They transferred another female in. And she wasn't, we were told not quite the same, but we roomed together for that year. And then I think she went civilian later. But I don't know.
You fired the James guns then. Those things were still roaring.
Old howitzers. And
the PAC 75s that they have now. But James guns, though, a thing of the past. They can't. They can't fire them anymore. Well, they have them, but they can't. They say you can't fire them because there's some fissures in the tube, so they're worried that they'll explode, which are probably wise.
They're probably like that when we were there too.
Probably. And you guys occasionally would wear ear protection. But
we wear ear protection.
You see them now, though. They're flak vests and Kevlar and stuff. You guys had soft covers on. They're lighting the James guns with a big cigar. I have a picture of Dave Olson doing that, lighting the James gun with a big cigar like that. Yeah,
I remember
it's nuts.
That's pretty funny. I don't know. It was I don't know. It just it was what it was, right? I don't know. Maybe it's called. That's why it's good you do these things when you're like 19 because you don't question, right? You just it's like that's why I say all these young people can go fly. Like you're not thinking about dying. You're just doing your thing. You're all excited. This is awesome. And you don't question. They tell you to do something, you just do it, and then after the fact, 20 years later, you're like, oh my God, like, what was I thinking?
You reach a point where you know too much and it's like, it's time to move on.
It's time to move on. Yeah.
You can only cheat fate so many times.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
you were a mechanical engineer, but that wasn't enough. So you double majored in math.
Yeah.
Why?
Math was my first love. You want my story.
Why? Why would you do that to yourself?
Because I'm not. I don't know. I'm all in. I'm all in. Professor Wallace, the infamous Professor Wallace, was my advisor, and as much as he's all gruff and everything, he always checked on me. He knew I loved math. Math was what I wanted to major in, but I thought math isn't feasible. You can't get a job with math later. You need something. Like engineering. I needed engineering. I want to go fly. Math isn't good enough. So I started mechanical engineering, and it was hard. Mechanical engineering was hard. Math, I would have had straight A's.
Really?
Math was great. Oh, I loved it. It was great. Engineering was hard. I studied. I almost thought I was going to fail out sophomore year because of electrical engineering, and I found somebody to tutor me. But he knew I loved math, and he goes, "Hey," and I transferred in like 12 credits from UK. They took for what are they called? The extra classes you need.
Electives.
Electives. Thank you. So I had a little bit of wiggle room, a few extra credits. And he stopped me in the hallway one day. He goes, "Hey, I was looking at your stuff." This was like the end of freshman year, maybe. He goes, "If you go to, no, it was the end of sophomore year. If you go to summer school the next 2 summers and take 22 credits every semester, you can get your double major."
Wow. Well,
and I was like, okay. And so that's what I did. And
most people would have run for the door.
Well, I wouldn't say I had much of a social life, but that's what I did. So, yeah. And I spent a lot of time studying. My kids are always like, "Math's just easy for you. You're just smart." And I go, "No." I used to sit in my professor's class at night from like 6 to 10 doing problems we had the blackboards, the old blackboards, right?
Mm-hmm.
We would work math problems on the blackboard for hours and hours. I go, I'm not like some, crazy genius IQ. We just always practiced and studied.
My father is a mechanical engineer.
Yeah.
And I relate to your sons because the quantitative thing did not get passed down to me. I was a CJ major. He's made fun of me my whole life about oh my God. Because he's one of those, he's like complete whiz at it and thinks it's really easy. Like you talk about how hard it is. I could see how somebody could strangely think it's fun, but my dad always said, "Oh, it's easy. It's easy," and I was like, "It's not easy. It's not."
Well, none of my kids are. Well, one's a biology major, so I guess he's kind of technical. But the others are history, political science, and then my youngest has no idea what he wants to do. So they're more like Brian was communications. But I can see the difference. Like Matthew will watch the History Channel all day, and Brian will do the same thing. Brian loves to speak in public. He's that was a great fit for him. I watched my number 2 is ginormous. He's 6'4", 245 pounds. He plays D2 lacrosse.
This is Nate.
Nate, yeah.
Okay.
And he majored in biology. I had, you don't know what your kids are going to do when they grow up. I had no idea what he would major in, but he did biology. And we'll go visit and we'll be hiking, and he's taking pictures of butterflies. And I'm like, okay, but it fits him. It fits him. And who would have known? But none of them really cared about math or engineering or flying. They're all going Army. Army. Like,
when did the flying bug bite you? When did you?
When I was a teenager.
Okay, so before Boost.
Before Boost, I always thought it was cool. And that's why I was like, I want to go back to school, get my degree, and go fly. And they're all like, "No, you don't want to do that. Just go be a secretary, or just go do this. Or why do you want to do that?" I was weird. People thought I was.
But it's funny because you had mentioned that. And to look at the way that your career ended up, it's sort of funny. People telling you what you can and you can't do, and you wanting to be a pilot from seeing a Cessna or something, and then next thing you know, and I know I'm crushing a lot of years there. Next thing you know, right? Yada yada yada. You're landing on a character on a carrier, right?
I think maybe that's part of it too. That maybe you need a little bit of stubbornness when people try. Like if you go in, you say, if your kids come into you and they go, "Hey, I want to go join the Army and be an infantry officer," you're like, "Okay, well, what do we need to do to get there?" And you help them, right? Mm-hmm. Help them into college. You help them decide, what major they want. You support them. You help them do their package, whatever. And I got just like the opposite because it was such an unknown. People are like my parents didn't go to college. Well, my dad went to college, but he didn't graduate. None of his family went to college. My mom's family didn't go to college. And so they kind of expected us to go. But after that, they didn't know. And they couldn't help me with going away to school. They didn't know how to direct me or how to advise me. My counselors didn't know what to tell me because everybody stayed there. So I was this kind of strange, this person that came in with these weird ideas that they thought was weird, but I was like, well, why not? Like, why can't I do that? But even my own, I even had people in my family be like, well, why do you want to do that? That's stupid. You can't do that. Girls can't do that, So you're like, and so I think my stubborn side would come out and be like, fine, you know what? Watch me. And I'd be like, bye. I'll do it by myself. Go away. So
you just struck on a couple of nerves with me. That's why I'm scratching down that note there is sometimes it's the people who are closest to you who make it harder on you, but they don't even know they're doing it.
Maybe not. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because same shit, different world, but of the people closest to you, your family, parents, and all that, who just never an encouraging word. It's all like you said. Now, maybe that's not everybody's experience, but it might happen. And it's because the world makes sense with you doing exactly what you're doing right now in it to them. Mm-hmm. If you start going up and doing something else that throws their universe off.
Maybe, yeah.
Or
they don't understand, yeah.
Or they just subconsciously do it. If one crab in the bucket makes a leap for the rim, the other ones reach up and pull it down, something like that. But I don't think they're doing it consciously. But but you mentioned it, so I was like, yes, I've experienced that.
I see it, and that's one of the things that when I talk to people that I remember, like when I talk to kids at school, or when I talk to, I just did a talk at work for a leadership program, and it's one of the things I remember. Like, don't let somebody tell you can't do. Like, there was just a job opening, and a friend came to talk to me about something. And I'm like, did you apply for this job? We just had this job open, and they're like, oh no. And I'm like, well, why? Like, why? Oh, well, I don't know. I just, I didn't think, or and I'm like, don't let somebody make you think you can't do it. Like you do it, try it. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe it does, but don't let somebody else tell you what you can and can't do. Like,
just because they've never done it.
Right. Exactly.
So it's like, You've been a trailblazer. Trailblazers have no mentors. There's nobody to talk to because it hasn't been done before.
Sometimes, yeah.
So you can run into these walls where it's like, well, shit, I got to be the first one to do this, or like, not taking no for an answer.
I think it is. I think it's a little bit of stubbornness, right? Like, fine, I'm going to go do it anyway, or I'm going to show you, or I'm going to try, and you can't make me do that. You can't tell me what to do, kind of thing, which can be good. When I see these feisty young little girls, and somebody's like, oh, they're going to give you trouble. I'm like, good. I think that's probably going to, serve them well later on if they're a little feisty.
Haven't things changed so much though? Going back to no, they haven't. I'd like to say we've made some progress on that, but you're saying no?
I think there are some small wins in initiative. Like, people are trying to make things change, and I don't know why it's taking so long. I don't see, unfortunately, I don't see as much change as I had hoped for at this point. I mean, we're still having the discussion in my organization about sexual harassment in the workplace, because people are filling out surveys that they are being sexually harassed in the workplace. And I'm like shocked. I'm like, I can't believe that this is still going on. But I talked to women that are still experiencing some of these things, and it's disheartening. It's frustrating. It makes me sad. It breaks my heart. It really does, because I would have hoped that in 30 years that I've been out of college, that things actually, I have to say, people talk about discrimination or harassment or not getting fair treatment or whatever, and I can honestly say at Norwich, I don't think I had a problem. Now, there may be stuff going on I didn't know about. I'm not sure, but personally, I always felt supported. I always felt like Bruce Stewart. He's the person that when I talked to him and told him what I wanted to do, I wanted to go fly for the Navy, he didn't look at me like I was crazy. And when I came to Norwich, and Professor Wallace is like, oh, you want to major in math? Okay. People did think I was crazy when I did that, but they didn't look at me like, well, that's crazy that you want to do that. It was just like, okay, let's go. And I thought,
that's cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then in the Navy, it was, some of it was blatant, but a lot of it was kind of just this hidden culture, right? That we were shoved in people's faces. So when I went through flight school, I was actually thinking about getting out. I just got married. I remember I was visiting Brian in Okinawa. I was in a land-based squadron in California, and Clinton lifted the combat exclusion. We're sitting there watching the news, and we're just like, And I look at him and I go, I'm leaving. I'm going back to California. So like, okay, now I have a job, because up until that point, I wasn't going to have a job next year because there was nothing for me to fly. They made 3 of us go jets in my training pipeline, but we had nothing to fly really. So they sent us to a land-based squadron, kind of a holding squadron. And then he lifted this. So I think that was their plan, right? They had this plan. And then they took every female they could find in the Navy and shoved us on this carrier in California. So we had like 500 women out of, 5,000 people. And some people didn't want us there. And some people were very supportive. And I have really good friends that I still talk to from that time. But there were people in my face blatantly that would just say awful things, do awful things that were very not fair, like being very selective, like picking you out, like picking on you, whatever. And I told somebody if I could have a do-over, because during that time, a lot of us, we just kind of hunkered down and did our job. Like, I don't want the attention. I don't want like there were reporters everywhere. There were cameras everywhere. There was, the first Carol Halt Green died on the aircraft carrier. She was the F-14 pilot that died. She was the first female to die in combat, kind of thing. That was a big deal. It was on our ship during training. And we were just trying to get through, right? We're just trying to do our job, not die, do it well, be professional. So I think like I went through that time not being very vocal about things that I saw. So if somebody said something to me, I would be like, you're an idiot, and I'd walk away. And I wouldn't report it or complain. I would just kind of ignore it. So by doing that, I was kind of complacent, right? So I said, I kind of wish in a way I could go back and be more vocal. And I think that's why, like now in my position, I don't care what you say to me right now. I don't care. I'm not going to get fired, whatever. So as much as I can support people and help young people to find that support or that identity to do what they want to do in a workplace that's welcoming, right? That's they come to work here. I want people to come to work every day and be happy to come to work, right? So I think I'm almost trying to make up for it, maybe in a way. I don't know. But it's made me more vocal now because of what I didn't do way back when. But unfortunately, there's still issues.
Still, 35 years post Tailhook, which I remember, I think that was 92. Yep. And I got commissioned in 93. And thanks to these Navy folks, we had endless lectures.
Training.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And it is sort of...
help? Why doesn't it help? Training.
Well, I don't know. I mean, because evidently some folks didn't get the memo still in 2023.
No, people, I don't get it. I don't understand it. We do training every year. We do climate surveys every year. We do DOCs. We do discussions. Our admiral was just out telling people that sexual harassment's not allowed here. Like, why do you have to say that? Why is that even a necessary statement? Mm-hmm. But it's still present. It's still mistreatment of people is still present. People that, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me. I don't know if they're unaware. I just don't think you're unaware at that point. I think that the things that happen like that I think you're an adult and you should know better.
You pivoted to intelligence. Was it different, the pervasiveness of harassment between there and aviation? And I think I know the answer to that one, or at least my gut.
I just think it just hasn't changed. Unfortunately, so I'm still in a Navy environment. That might be part of it. I don't know. I'm a civilian now, so I don't, I can't, it's not apples to apples maybe, but it's close. It's just such a big mix. There's so many people that are really good, hard workers, supportive, and then you just have the few bad apples, right? They just have to ruin it for everybody. And they're just there. I don't know why they're still there. I can't figure out why they still think it's okay to do or say these kind of things. I do know it's still a culture, and a part of it's being maybe with the Navy that was predominantly male. Like our numbers still aren't really women in the Navy. The numbers are still, they're out of minority. So if you go into some of the other intel agencies like the CIA, they're almost 50-50 men to women, but they did targeted hiring. They did targeted hiring for women, minorities, people of color, LGBTQ. So they specifically hired people to leverage those numbers. Is that the best way to do it? I don't know, but that's what they did. In our organization, we don't do that. We don't target hire. So it's good and bad, because then what happens is, even though we make diverse panels, most of our applicants are still white male because they have the Navy background. And so our pool of applicants it's less diverse. And I think that makes it a little harder to bring women in, people of color, if they don't have a Navy background, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not sure. I still go to meetings where I'm the only woman. My command right now actually is more diverse than any of the other shops I've been in. But I think they intentionally have helped, like the women have helped each other. Hey, this job's coming open. Why don't you apply? Let's practice your interviews. Let's look at your resume. So they have the mentoring that you're talking about, the mentoring, the support from other women. I think that's what's happened. They specifically have tried to pull in women, minorities, other ethnicities, which some offices don't do. So it's just, I don't know the best answer, but it's not as good as it could be. So like in the IC, they start out at entry level in the intelligence community, they start out with almost 50-50 men to women. But then as you see people promote, the numbers drop. So now at my level, we're only about 12% women. So, and it's even lower for Black women or women of color. And then when you get to the next level, I think it's like 6%.
Is there an institutional explanation for that, or?
Nobody, no. They've done a lot of studies, but nobody has tried to fix it. So I don't know if they really understand why. We try to explain it. Oh, well, women, that's about the time they start to have children. Oh, well, they don't apply. Well, we know they don't apply, but why don't they apply? Why do they leave? Why do they go to a different organization? They go to the private sector. Why do they go to the private sector? Why don't they stay in the community? So they've done the studies, and then they don't delve further. So I don't think we ever really know the answer, but it's still that way. I'm still a lot of times the only female, in the room. So, I don't know. I try to mentor, but I try to mentor whoever wants to be mentored. I don't selectively pick women, but women, you go to people like you, right? So I get more women ask me to mentor than men. And I think mentoring is very important. Some people won't. I asked a senior female to mentor me, and she said no. I was like, oh, okay.
Did she have a different definition of the word mentor, or it was too much of a commitment, or did she elaborate at all on that?
She just said she didn't have time. She didn't have time.
Oh,
so,
geez. And
I really think she's awesome. I'm like, she's awesome. She's really high in the intelligence community. She had 4 kids. She was an engineer. I was like, that would be awesome. And I talked to her all the time. And then I was like, would you be my mentor? She just flat out said no. I'm like, okay, I'll go find somebody else. So,
well, yeah. Who's number 2 on that list?
But I have a lot of other people that I talk to that are all levels. So male and female. I think it's good to have a mix of people that you can talk to for, just different, like your different points of view, like your point of view with women in the Corps kind of thing. I just think it's good to have the different perceptions.
How's your experience been on the Board of Fellows? You're vice chair for the School of Engineering, is it?
Yes.
You guys have very long titles on the Board of Fellows, so I usually screw those up.
We need more women. Yeah. So I looked at the picture. I go, and I say that, I go, I don't know why it's called the Board of Fellows. I'm like, we need more women. Everybody just looks at me. I'm like, well, you know what I'm saying? They're like, yeah, and like 5 of us are class of 90, which is hilarious. So everybody else is probably like, we need people that aren't the class of 90.
Yeah.
So, but soon. It's been great. I've greatly enjoyed it. I hope we're helping the students, right? I mean, we're trying to get feedback from them to see if what we're doing is beneficial. We've been doing a webinar series. They're working on, the webpage and presence and networking. So we try to get feedback from the students, but I think they're busy too. So we don't want to interfere in what they're doing. But these kids are smart. They are so smart. Oh my God. And the availability of the technology, the things that they have in the school to work with is better than we had. But
it's a low bar.
Yeah, true. Very true. But yeah, they're great to work with. I think we can do a lot of good. We just like the feedback from the students. It's nice to engage with them and get their feedback and how they feel about things. You don't want to just preach to people, right? You want to have a discussion and hear how things are going. But it's been a great experience. I've enjoyed getting involved in the school again. Like we were gone and busy. We were deploying. We were overseas. So, and then you have kids and then you don't do anything. You just do kid stuff. So it's been nice, the last 5 or 6 years or so, we've been back and able to get more involved, which has been really nice.
Your son, Matt, is he a sophomore now? No, he's a freshman, isn't he?
He's a sophomore.
Sophomore now?
He's a sophomore, history major, yeah.
Okay. I think I met him when he came up to visit you guys in the President's Bach at Alumni Weekend. He came up real quick. Big, tall guy.
Big, tall guy.
Yeah.
They're all tall. Guy. They're all tall. They're all like 6'2" and above. I'm the little one in the group now. Brian's shorter than everybody. Brian's only 6 foot. So they're all like.
That's because he's been beaten down.
Oh, geez.
And your younger one, James?
He says he applied to Norwich. So I think he might get in. What do you think?
Do you think? Like, who's his parents? And okay, they're already paying tuition. They haven't missed any payments yet. Okay, yeah, we're good. You have good credit here.
We'll take him. And they're not even asking for SAT scores right now.
Is it completely optional now, or for the holistic candidate?
Since COVID, I guess. I don't know.
I'm pretty progressive, and even I'm like, okay, there's got to be some hurdles here somewhere. Or if you're gonna be an engineer, especially, I mean, Jesus, there's some stuff we need to know before you show up for the first day in Professor Wallace's class.
Yeah. There was a discussion that we had with the students coming in and not having the prerequisite math. That when they applied, you had to ensure to review their transcripts and talk to them, make sure they had like certain, I think we had to come in with calculus at least. When you got you
had to come in with calculus?
I think, yeah.
I never took it. Never.
Yeah, we had to come in with calculus. I think that's what it was. But so, yeah, there's some kids that don't get the prerequisite math, and then they start in the engineering program where they really probably should have been in a 5-year, but they get thrown into a 4-year, and you're just going to set them up to fail. So that's a discussion we're having right now where they're trying to pre-screen or provide them like a summer course online to take the math before they get to the school, which would help. But yeah, so yeah, you definitely need a baseline. But they're having problems recruiting, so they need cadets, right? We need cadets.
Big time right now. That's everything. Yep.
Need a targeted recruiting initiative for cadets because you think people don't want to go to the military is having a hard time recruiting. The Army last year, I think, they were down like 37% of their recruiting goals or something. It was over 30%. They don't have enough people. I don't know what they're going to do. There's a lot going on in the world, and people are kind of just turning the blind eye, right? No, we just want to buy from China. What's the matter? It's okay. They're cheaper. We don't need to, we need that supply chain. Next
thing you know, we don't have any cotton swabs for COVID tests because we don't make them anymore.
Yeah, or Advil.
Like or baby formula.
Tylenol. Yeah, baby formula. Well, that was the in-country thing, wasn't it? Didn't our plant shut down or something?
Was it? I thought we had outsourced it and didn't make it anymore. Oh no, we were just shut down.
Yeah, I think it just shut down. But the children's Tylenol was made in China, and Advil, and they were running out of supplies of children's medication, and
should make you a little uncomfortable.
Everything at Pickup's made in China. Everything at Pickup. We took a field trip to the CIA last week, and a bunch of the people came home with coffee cups, right? Stuff. and you flip it over and it says made in China.
Oh.
You're like, really?
So do we have no pride? At least that shop.
Right.
Just buy them somewhere local. What's it going to cost you?
What is this? I got to see. I bet everything I picked up is made in China. I don't know. Anyway.
So your son Matt, it's funny. He's not here to answer any questions, but it's funny because I think of him with you and Brian as parents, and him as a cadet, and I want to ask him. I want to be like, Matt, let's say you got in trouble, right? Not huge trouble. You're not going to get kicked out, but it's big enough. They're eventually going to find out. Which parent do you call to tell about it first?
Probably me. I don't know.
You?
Brian, he can be a softie sometimes. You never know what his reaction will be.
Like, if you were all out of money, which parent are you going to call first to say, hey, I need a refill?
It depends on which kid it is. So Nate has no qualms. He'll call, text, and message both of us at the same time to see.
Shameless.
Yeah, shameless. Totally shameless. Whereas Matt doesn't ask for money. Our oldest didn't ask for money. But yeah, Nate, he's always out of money. He spends everything he has. He just called yesterday to talk. I just called to say hi. I was like,
I'm not going for that one.
Yeah. How much do you need? Oh, well, it's just so-and-so's birthday. We were going to go to dinner. Like, okay, whatever.
Sure you were. Yeah.
We keep going, okay, May, he's done. He'll be off our payroll, right, in May.
Oh, I don't think they ever get off.
Well, we just got Zach off our phone bill, the one in the Army. He's married. We just got him off our cell phone bill.
I have a bunch of friends, same thing. They're like, I got a 25-year-old, kid, 3 of them, all still on my cell phone plan. I'm bumping them all off. And that's when they call to say hi, just to talk.
Right. Oh, do you have kids?
I have one 10-year-old. He's almost 11, so fifth grade. Yeah.
So you get all this to look forward to.
I love him. I'm overwhelmed with one, though. I cannot imagine having 4. I just got to get through middle school and high school.
They're fun. Boys are. They were always fun. They were really good kids. They didn't fight when they were little. But now when they're older, they fight all the time. I don't understand it. But they say it's like all in jest, right? Oh, we're just joking. But they would do what they were told pretty much. They, didn't talk back. They were so good as little kids. I don't know, we got lucky or what, but we got a little bit of payback later, I think, because now they're all like, they want to go drinking. They want us to buy them this. And the youngest wants to have a party. And that one wants our money. And, that one we're still paying his car and we don't know why. And I'm like, So, but when they were little, they were fun. I thought they were fun. And Brian was gone a lot. He was deployed a lot when they were little. And, I had this great job as a project engineer. We did foreign weapon exploitation. And so we'd get like Italian mine or whatever. And we'd take it down to these different labs and we'd tear them apart, figure out how they work. And then we'd share the information to the labs and they'd build countermeasures or tactics. And we'd go out and train the fleet on what to do if they encountered this weapon. So we did all the undersea naval weapons. So it was a great job. We traveled. We went to Australia and Germany. We did Five Eyes stuff. Canada. Where else did we go? We went to the UK like every year. I mean, it was great travel. And so I had the two little ones for a long time, and I would just take them with me and bring my mom to babysit. So I'd go, you buy your plane ticket, I'll pay for everything else. And so she would come and she'd babysit the kids when I was at work, and then we'd stay like an extra weekend or 3 or 4 days and go sightseeing and stuff. They were so well behaved. They were nice on the plane. They were good flyers.
Great experience for them too, to travel. Like my wife is Dominican, and we've been traveling since he was this big. 2 or 3 times a year, we go down there. Her family's in Costa Rica and Seattle, different places. Like I can wake him up at 2 a.m. and he's fine if we're traveling. He's good. Boom, into the car.
Drama.
Yeah.
Costa Rica. Nice.
We just did Guatemala for 2 weeks in Christmas.
Oh, wow.
Loved it.
Never
Loved
been.
it. A lot more fun than Costa Rica.
Oh, more fun than Costa Rica or
yeah. Really? Costa Rica's beautiful and they're really nice people and it's very environmental and all that good stuff, but it's a little boring.
Oh, really?
Guatemala has a little more spice to it.
Okay. Like,
Everything.
what do you do different in Guatemala? Better bars, better food, better.
Yeah, no, much better food, much better stuff to look at than just environmental stuff,
okay.
zip lines and monkeys and stuff, versus Mayan villages where there's still Mayans living there, and making all their textiles the same way and stuff. So it seemed a lot more, I don't know, stimulating.
Well, how did you meet your wife then?
I lived in the Dominican Republic for 6 years.
Oh, wow. Doing what? Just working?
I was teaching, yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Met there. She had just got back from Spain. She did her master's degrees there in sports psychology. And she was a sports psychologist for I have to look around because I live in Massachusetts, for the Yankees, the New York Yankees. She worked for them down there in their development league, and was teaching at the same school that I taught at too.
Wow.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. So see, look, like you just did a thing. Why did you just go to, like, I'm just going to go to the Dominican Republic, and people would be like, you're crazy.
Everybody said I was crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
And you said what?
Sold my house and went.
Yeah. You're like, whatever. I'm going to go have fun, do my thing.
Just like Alden Partridge. Cool. That's where we get it. That's where we get that feistiness, or you call it the stubbornness. It comes from Alden. Got kicked out. Remember, he had this idea. Nobody liked it. He said, forget it. I'll go do it myself.
Go do it myself. Rogue. That's our latest word. We're just going to go rogue.
If you could travel back in time and visit the Corps at any time in our 200-year history, when would you visit and why?
Oh, gosh. Well, I have to say senior year, because then I didn't have to work and I was able to actually enjoy. So I feel that like the whole time I was in school, because I had so much work to do, that I was actually told, can I say this? I probably shouldn't say this about myself. So I was told later by some of Brian's friends, the Bravo boys, they called me the Ice Queen because I wasn't very nice in school. And I finally go, well, I was probably sleep deprived and I just didn't care. So
it sounded like you had shit to do.
So anyway, so I would go, because I was taking 20 plus credits and working part-time and ROTC and trying to do rank in the Corps, all that stuff. So senior year, I actually had somebody sending me some money every month so I didn't have to work. And we actually went out and we went whitewater rafting and got to see some of Vermont, which I never really saw. I never really got to do the fun things. So, yeah.
Do you have a favorite building on campus?
No. I worked in the library in summer school, though, and had to close up at night.
Okay, so that's the answer to, is that the most haunted spot on campus? Is that it?
Yeah, the haunted spot on campus is kind of creepy.
That was back when Ann Turner was still librarian, and they had that big bust of Alden when you went in, that big, huge head of his. Yeah.
And we'd had the Ghostbusters or somebody out there to see what was that?
It was before. Yeah, it was a couple. They're old. I forget
not the Ghostbusters, but something that would.
Ghost Chasers, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, yeah. It was creepy, but it was a cool building, though. I'm one of the geeky library freaks, so I used to go hang on the library as a kid. So, I did in summer school. I would work there, and so I don't know. Probably maybe it was the library if I think about it.
All right, you got to choose one or the other: Alden Partridge or Ernie Harmon.
I don't know a thing about Ernie Harmon, so I have to say Alden Partridge.
Okay, Alden Partridge or Rich Schneider?
Why? Do I have a reason why I'm choosing these?
Nope.
Okay, Alden Partridge.
That works. Horses or tanks?
Oh, tanks.
Morning PT or afternoon PT?
Definitely morning.
You still do morning? I know you're a fitness fanatic. Do you meditate or anything as well in the morning?
I don't meditate. I can't sit still like that. It makes me crazy. But I do like yoga, like the hardcore, fast, hot yoga kind of stuff. But the meditation's hard. Can't do it. Do you meditate?
I try, and then I get frustrated, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? So I just call it breathing.
It makes it hard. It makes it worse for me if I try to meditate.
Yeah.
So no.
NU football or hockey?
I've never seen an NU hockey game.
You're kidding me, really?
That's on my bucket list, yeah.
Okay, so football or rugby?
Rugby was more fun to watch. Probably because our football team was never that great.
It doesn't sound like you had a lot of time off, but if you did have time off and you were going to go 89 northbound or southbound, which direction would you be going?
I have no clue. The only place I ever really went was we'd go out in Burlington, so I have to say north.
See, yeah, northbound up there.
Actually, I went paddleboarding up there. Remember June, Heston?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went paddleboarding up there by Burlington. So I'd go north because I got to go paddleboard.
Would you rather read the record or the guide on?
Oh, the guide on. I remember that. Yeah.
Nice little tabloid.
Yeah. Do they still do the publication, the guide on?
They do. They have an online version of it.
Oh, I'll have to check it out. Okay.
Gray tunic or dress blues?
I like the dress blues, especially when they wear the sash and the tassel and the gold. I think those are nice looking.
Okay, movies here. Lords of Discipline or Taps?
I don't know if I saw Taps. Lords of Discipline.
Platoon or Full Metal Jacket?
I didn't see either of those.
You were studying.
Thinking of a guy. You got to ask different movies. Like, what was A Beautiful Mind versus, I don't know.
That was later, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, that was later. I didn't watch movies. I didn't remember a movie back then.
Because you added the second major. What music comes to mind when you think of your time living on the UP?
Like a band or something in particular?
Command Reveille?
Taps. Remember the Morning Caller? That's what I think of.
Mm-hmm. That was us. I was a rook in your barracks. Yeah, so that was it. You were on the bottom floor.
We were trying to explain that to Matthew because they don't do it anymore. And he's like, well, that's stupid. I thought it was kind of cool.
They either loved you as a rook doing it, they either expected it, and if you didn't do it, they'd come out, where was the morning caller? I was late. There should have been a morning caller. Or they'd come out and tell you, shut the fuck up. Like, yeah.
Yep.
If you had to go back and you couldn't major in engineering or math, what would you major in?
I think psychology. I was pretty good at psychology, but I think it was too easy, so I figured I had to pick something hard.
Last one for you.
Okay.
If you could go back to your own graduation and just give yourself a quick piece of advice, whisper something in your own ear before you disappear, what would that be? No stock tips.
No stock tips.
No stock tips.
I don't know. I would just say just to be yourself. Just do what you do and be yourself.
So do exactly what you did.
You do you. Yeah, I don't think I would go back and change. I don't think I'd go back and change. Obviously, there's maybe little things along the way that I wish I'd got, not hurt somebody or said something to somebody or something. But I think in the big picture, I wouldn't go back and change. Just think one left turn and your whole life would be different. I just can't imagine not having the people I have in my life and the experiences I've had and the opportunities. You work hard for them, but then, I still feel blessed that I've had the opportunities that I've had and to come back to the school. I've even made more friends coming back to the school, I think, because I didn't have the time then that I have now that I talk to more. So yeah, just keep doing what you're doing and do you. That's my big thing. You do you. You do you.
Don't worry about everybody else.
Don't worry about everybody else.
Yeah. What didn't I bring up that I should have, or if there's anything you want to bring up? I'll give you the final word.
I don't know. These are kind of new for me, and I get myself that I volunteer because I want to help people, and if I can share something, I'd like to be able to share things. So if somebody else that identifies or wanted to do what I wanted to do and was told no, maybe now they'll go do it, or whatever, So I always say that, I'm here, people want to talk or have questions. I have open door policy at work. I'm always open to ideas, and God knows I still have a lot to learn. So, it's been a great experience, and Norwich is kind of our foundation, my foundation. Without Norwich, I don't think I would be here. So if I gone left, I would have been a totally different life.
I've been wanting to have you on forever.
Oh, well, you're very nice. I hope I don't disappoint.
No, it was great. What were you just saying? I talked over you.
Oh, I don't know. No, I was saying thank you. I was saying thank you for your time, and I appreciate it. And I thought Brian speaks highly of you, so it's nice to finally talk to you a little bit. So,
well, give him my regards. This will be a great episode. You're an important voice. So. People need to hear your voice, not just the women to be inspired, but everybody to know the stuff that you've done. We are unsung heroes, which is great, and it's all modest and commendable and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's one of the reasons why people still think that we're in freaking Connecticut is because we're so So that's why I'll toot the horn for you. We're more than happy to do so.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much.
If you ever need anything, don't hesitate.
Oh, well, thanks. We'll see you soon, Hope.
All right, take care. You will.
Bye.
Adios.
Thank you for listening to the Second Mess Podcast. We value your feedback. Feel free to email us your thoughts at secondmesspodcast@gmail.com. For complete information about the show and links to our social media channels, check out www.secondmess.com. Until next time, stay safe and stay connected.